Can anybody tell if we are indeed live? Okay, here we are. I believe we are streaming. So, welcome everybody back to RfRx, your prescription for coping. Here at Recovering from Religion, we offer hope, healing, and support to those struggling with issues of doubt and non belief. And RfRx is our weekly live stream show where we host guests who discuss topics relevant to folks in the RFR community. And to access our other resources, you can visit our website at recoveringfromreligion.org, where you can get in touch with a volunteer on our 24/7 helpline, attend a support group, peruse our online resources, visit the blog, learn all about the next RFRX show, listen to the podcast, get connected with a licensed mental health care professional, make a donation, or even apply to be a volunteer yourself. And you can also catch the show on the Atheist Community of Austin's fan run Discord server known as the Atheist Community of Discord, or ACD. So, welcome back for our second week of live streaming to YouTube. I'm Kara, I'll be your host, and I have with me returning co host Rob Palmer. Rob, how are you doing today?
Just fine. I hope I didn't mess things up. I played with the layout, and right now it looks to me like the button I pushed has the speaker as a larger portion of the screen and the other two people off to the side. Is that what you're saying also? Is that live streaming?
I have no idea, but I think that is what is happening. This is our second week doing this, so please forgive any tech issues, but I think that is what is happening. So
Okay.
that sounds good to me.
If we want to leave
We'll
it that
see.
way, we can leave it that way, or we could play with the layout.
Let's
Up
do
to
it.
you.
Let's do it. I like it. So let's see. What are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about how mediums prey on women, featuring Susan Gerbic. And a quick disclaimer as a reminder, Recovering from Religion is a nonprofit organization, and our shows are designed to generate conversation and engage our powers of reason. All of our guest speakers are presenting their own views. People of any political or religious affiliation are welcome to participate in the show, and this is a safe space for members of the LGBTQ plus community. We ask that everyone keep their comments civil. If you disagree with someone in the chat, please do so respectfully and respect the speaker, the hosts, the other guests, and yourself. And if you do have a question for our guest speaker, please type it into the chat and we'll try and collect some of those and ask them at the end of the program. And with that, Rob, would you care to introduce our guest?
I can certainly do that. So I have just looked it up, Susan. I think we met 9 years ago. I can't believe I've known Susan Gerbic for 9 years. Susan Gerbic is the founder of the Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia project, which is when I met her when I joined that project. That is an organization of volunteers contributing to the accuracy of Wikipedia in many languages. Susan is also the founder of her local skeptic group, the Monterey County Skeptics, which holds an annual conference known as Skepticamp. Since 2018, Susan's been a fellow of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, that's CSI, and she's a frequent contributor to their online magazine, The Skeptical Inquirer. She also makes regular appearances on The Skeptic Zone, which is the podcast from Australia for Science and Reason. In 2019, Susan was awarded the Robert P. Bales Prize for Critical Thinking, and in 2018, she used a grant from the James Randi Educational Foundation to establish a nonprofit named About Time, focusing on scientific skepticism and activism. While her particular focus has been on educating the public about psychic mediums, which she has dubbed grief vampires, and which, of course, we'll discuss tonight, Susan's activism encompasses many areas of interest to scientific skepticism, such as alternative medicine, conspiracy theories, facilitated communications, and UFO claims. Welcome to RfRx, Susan. And your last appearance was just almost exactly 3 years ago. And by the way, since then, Susan has officially become a disinformation agent for the government, preventing alien disclosure, according to Wikipedia.
I'm busy. I'm quite busy.
Wow, that's impressive. How does one get that role? Do you have to apply?
I don't even have a clue. I can't believe that there's so many conspiracy theories about myself. This is just wild.
Yeah, it's like
Wow.
if you watch a podcast run by UFO believers, it's like they're slamming Susan, the Guerrilla Skeptics, and sometimes me. Like, we're all paid by paid by the NSA or
George
FBI.
Soros.
I'm not sure which organization, but somebody in the government is paying us to keep the secret about aliens working with the government and being all around us. From the
Right, yeah.
opposition.
Or we should be hauled in front of Congress and forced to testify, or they're the ones who are actually paying us or there's so many different conspiracy theories. None of them actually make any sense, and it's been surreal the last couple of years.
So is it a surprise to you that you don't see the equivalent from the psychic realm, which is where you actually spend most of your time, right? Very
Mhm.
little do you talk about UFOs, and they're attacking you left and right like you're the most villainous person there is. I don't see psychic medium organizations attacking you.
Absolutely not, because there are no psychic medium organizations really. So that's it's fascinating, and I think that people who know I'm on their trail are doing everything they can to not poke the bear, because they absolutely do not want the attention from me. So they block me on social media, all of them. I mean, Tyler Henry blocked me probably in 2016, 2017, when I made the first article about him when he was just getting started. And then all of the others have just blocked me, blocked me, blocked me, which means they're obviously aware of me. But there is no there's very few, how do I say this? They don't want to they don't really associate with a lot of other people. I mean, there are groups that sponsor each other and they're workshopping with each other in like team grief vampiring, but they're, like three mediums together or something like that. They do not want sunlight on what's going on, and they do not want to acknowledge me. And so it's been fascinating.
Where I never see people who claim to have been abducted by aliens point to other people who make the same claim. No, they're liars. I never see that, but I
Mm-mm.
do see in your videos, right, other psychic mediums saying, no, that medium is a fraud.
Well, they don't always call them out by name, but yeah, there's a lot that will say, "Oh, well, there are frauds in our business. There is frauds in our community." And I think Tyler Henry has done that. And some of the others, John Edward, I think does that. And some of them will. They just want to throw they want people not looking at them. So they will say somebody else. I know a lot of people got after Thomas John because Thomas John's a hot reader, and I've caught him so many times. I don't have enough fingers and toes to say how many times I've caught him, and we got him in the New York Times even.
So
So
Give an
explain hot
example.
reading. Explain hot reading, please.
hot reading is when a medium has information about you ahead of time. They've done some research on you, or you have had a reading with them before. In other words, they have knowledge of you beforehand, or somebody's told them some kind of information. But most mediums do not hot read. Absolutely, it's uncommon. But if you're a hot reader, there's no way you can say um, it's blatant cheating. I mean, you're going and looking it up. It's not like guesswork, or you can't pretend that you're really actually in contact with the dead if you're hot reading. But very few people do hot read. So what we've done when we get a case of a hot reader is we find the evidence of what they're hot reading. And I have one for you tonight too. I'm going to show you some clips. So I have one to show you, um, a psychic medium manipulating a woman. And I have let me think. Do I only have one for you yeah, I only have one for you that's a hot reading that I'm going to show you today. So
Okay,
that's
so
really fun.
yeah, so before we get to that, let's explain the title. We settle on how mediums prey on women specifically. So why did we single out women
Most
in our title?
victims of mediums are women. Now, I don't have a degree in psychology or anything of the sort, but I have noticed over the years that different kinds of pseudoscience are gendered. And it's an interesting idea that somebody should probably do some kind of do their PhD on that or something. But in the world of UFOs, flat Earth, perpetual motion machines,
Bigfoot,
and
Bigfoot, Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, yeah, conspiracies that we didn't go to the moon, all that's very male. And you can see that if you go to a conference that's focused on those, it is almost all male. So, ladies out there, if you're looking to meet somebody, the gender imbalance there is you're gonna go in to a
Yeah.
Bigfoot conference. I bet you're gonna
Yeah,
score.
you don't even have to travel to a conference. I mean, I've been, I check out these Facebook groups, and that is all the names seem male. Like,
Yeah,
uh-oh.
they're all male. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go with male or female. Sorry, you guys. It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
that is you'll see them all presenting as male there. But in the world of the psychic medium, it's almost all female. Now, I have my opinion on why that is, and I mean, I can tell you why I think it's almost all female, but it is. And you'll see a few men here and there, but they are rarely called on. I mean, sometimes they are, but I have a few, but
Now,
it's
what's the
like
percent?
95%.
You've seen
Hmm?
how many?
It's probably 95% female. If you
Wow.
go to an event that is a psychic event, and I've been to lots of them, you'll go in and it's almost all women, but you'll see a few men, and the men are usually with women, like they're brought,
Yeah.
So this
they're like, "With me,
includes
honey." Hmm?
this is both the practitioners and the consumers of psychic mediumship. Is it about that same
Consumers.
percentage?
We see a lot of males and females in the world of psychic mediums, and again, I have my opinion why that is, but it is, yeah,
It's a
it's
statistical
almost
fact,
all practitioners.
and as you said, this is what you've noticed, but there are stats on this. When I did my talk for RfRx on what's the harm in believing in psychics, I actually had a slide which was backed up by some data, and I don't remember if it was Pew who did it or whatever, but it was some research agency which broke it down into genders, how much people were willing to spend a year on psychics. And when you're talking about $10, $100, it was like maybe I don't now I'm not sure I'm remembering the numbers right, but the gist is going to be correct. Maybe it was 50-50 or 60-40. But the more you got, and people were spending $10,000 a year on psychics, that was like 99.9% women. The more money they were spending a year, the more the gender gap became.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
most victims of psychic mediums are female. Women are also conditioned to be more malleable. So, when I watch these readings or when I attend these readings, women don't question the medium. So, the medium will give a statement and the woman will not ask for further clarification. They will not um, come back with like if the psychic says, I think your brother's here with me. The woman won't say, which brother? They won't ask. They absolutely won't. And I think a man is probably more likely. I'm just throwing it out there. I have no evidence of this because there's almost never a man that gets a reading that you see. It's very rare. So like, I'm coming from a world of the magic performer. My boyfriend Mark Edward was a mentalist, and so performing magic and all that was a big deal. So what happens is magicians have this effect on the audience. They're looking for somebody who will be compliant with them. If they pull somebody up onto the stage, they're not looking for somebody who's going to be challenging them or being an a-hole. They're looking for somebody who's going to be like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever you say. I'll look where you tell me to look. I will say the card that I'm supposed to say. I will do what I'm supposed to do. They do pull men and women up, but they will pull men and women, but they're looking for somebody who's more compliant. And so I think that's also going on in the world of the psychic medium. And women are conditioned to be more compliant. We're more likely to go along with it. We're less likely to challenge something. And if they feel like they're getting a woman who might be more like, oh, I ain't putting up with that, then the reading's over. Oh, I'm sorry, your dead loved one just wandered off. I'm on to the next person. So I mean, they can't lose. They're always in charge.
And would you say also there's probably quite a bit of maybe motivated reasoning on the part of the customer as well, right? They want to believe that they're going to be put in contact with their deceased loved one, right? This is usually people trying to contact like a family member or someone who was close to them, right?
I think
Yes.
I've heard Susan use the phrase "motivated sitter." Is that
Yeah,
correct?
thank you, Car, for bringing that up. Yes, I'm trying to coin the phrase motivated sitter. It's something that I'm seeing a lot in my videos. Richard Saunders from the Australian Skeptics, the Skeptic Zone podcast, he said that when he heard me say the phrase motivated sitter, he says, that is it. That is exactly it. He says, I've noticed this for years, but I've never really had a term for it. And that is exactly what's going on. And when a person gets a reading with a psychic, okay, they're motivated to get that reading. They've paid money, they've waited X amount of time for their appointment to get to the psychic. They are jazzed up and they're ready to get that reading. And they've also been conditioned to believe that medium readings aren't always like like imagine like a TV set back in the day with rabbit ears on it, and you're like, it's not quite tuning in exactly. We have to adjust it just a little bit. So you have to kind of give a little and give a little, take a little bit. So that's what people kind of think, that it works like that. And so what they'll do is when the psychic is telling them something, maybe like a dog. Okay. So the psychic will say, the medium, I'm only talking really about mediums. That's people who claim to be able to communicate with the dead, not a psychic who could be like a tarot reader or something like that. I'm only really focusing on mediums. I should be clear, but I'll say the word psychic because it's just colloquially, that's the word we use. So mediums will say, I'm getting, there's something about a dog, and I think it's a big dog. I think it's a German Shepherd. Okay. Now, the person who's hearing that doesn't have a German Shepherd that they would relate to, per se. But they would say, well, a big dog, yeah, I guess it could relatively be a biggish dog, yeah, or yeah, I guess it could kind of look like a whatever. I'm just going to agree with whatever the medium's saying because they don't want the reading to end. Because
And
if
of
you,
course oh,
Mhm.
I was just gonna say, and of course, German Shepherds are one of the most popular kinds
Yes,
of dogs
yes.
that people have. How convenient.
Yeah, very, very true. Except during World War II, they fell off the list. But yeah, exactly. So what happens is the sitter will find a way of making that connection because they don't want that connection to go away. What they want to do is they want to keep the reading moving, and they're thinking, okay, so he's not exactly right, but any minute now he's going to tune in, and it's going to be hyper there, because he's going to be there. So they're motivated to hear what they need to hear to get the best reading possible. And motivated sitters are, I mean, this is something that I've kind of been coming up with in the last year or so. And what is going on is it doesn't matter the tricks that the medium is using. The if you're a motivated sitter, you're going to hear what you need to hear. So if the medium comes up there and they start telling you, maybe 15 people's names, they go through the alphabet and they name 15 names, the motivated sitter is only hearing the one that fit. And so they've forgotten all the other 14 names and they're hyper focused on the one that hit. And when they leave the reading and they go tell their family and friends that they had this amazing reading from this guy who there's no way he could possibly have known, they're going to say, my Aunt Anna came through. Oh my gosh, Aunt Anna was here. And nowhere in the conversation you're having with your friends and family was, oh, and 14 other people's names came through that I had no idea who they could possibly be. They're only going to relate what worked. And then so their friends and family are only hearing the positive, they're only hearing that it worked. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. So it's a motivated sitter kind of told with this telephone game kind of.
Yeah, so again, just kind of that classic example of, counting the hits and ignoring the misses over and over again.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yikes. And it's like you said, if it's a motivated sitter, it makes sense that they would fall prey to that bias because we're all susceptible to that kind of thinking to begin with, and then
Mhm.
add to that this desperate desire to hear from a lost loved one or something like
Right.
that. I
They
can
may be
see
in
how
grief.
people would,
They may
yeah.
be very lonely, they may be in grief, they may have they're worried about jobs. I mean, we are living in a time right now that it is quite frightening to people about, are you gonna keep your job? Are we gonna have enough money to pay for food? What is the price of Thanksgiving this year? I mean, on and on and on, I mean, we could add on. And so it's a very frightening time. And COVID, when we went through COVID, I think it exasperated everything because people were locked down, unable to really communicate. Most of these people, like I say, the sitters are women, and all of a sudden, they're going to church, they're going to bingo, they're going to social events, they can see their grandkids. Life is progressing. You can go to weddings, you can go to funerals, you can go to baptisms, you can go to the doctor's office, and then boom, suddenly this wall goes up. Nobody predicted, of course, COVID, by the way. And these women are forced to suddenly get onto a computer or use their phone. They don't have a setup. They're not like with webcams and speakers and all this. They're suddenly isolated. And you take these women who are in that vulnerable technological position and add on the terrifying terrifying world that they don't know if they're going to survive. This is far before we had vaccines. And what they were able to do is, you take your husband in who's got a cough, who refuses to, take it seriously or whatever. You take him to the doctor, or you take grandma to the doctor, drop them off at the hospital. You don't even get to say goodbye. They're dead. I mean, there was a period of time that was terrifying. And so you don't have your, and it doesn't even have to have been COVID that killed them. I mean, think about all the people who didn't get to get their chemotherapy. They didn't get to get their kidney dialysis like they should have. I mean, because it was a sudden change. So people were dying for multiple reasons, and you're missing that normal life. You can't even do a funeral because how are you going to gather? You can't go to the weddings, you can't go to baptisms, you can't go to bingo, you can't go to church, you can't even go to the grocery store in a lot of cases. So these lives are absolutely torn apart in a massive confusion, like World War One, World War Two, the Great Depression, these horrible things that hit society. COVID did that. And so here's these women absolutely thrown in a flux, exactly the same thing, and they fled to psychic mediums for some kind of control because they were terrified, and I can't blame them.
Well, yeah. We talk about that as being, one of the reasons that some people stay in other, more traditional religious practices as well, is that feeling of, I want to have certainty and I want to have answers and I want to feel like I
Mhm.
know what's coming and I feel safe if I have certainty. And of course, it may be a false sense of security. You can't actually tell the future, but wouldn't it be nice if you could? And
Mhm.
I imagine, I don't know if this is the case, but do you find that oftentimes people that have left another religion that may have that sort of feeling of, security around knowing what's going to happen in the future gravitate towards psychic mediums, even if they're no longer religious?
Well, there are people who are atheists who believe in communication with the dead, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
But they I guess they believe in like a spiritual, cosmic, some kind of juju, something out there. I don't know. I think Rob would probably be able to answer that, but I think
Well, yeah, because
that, yeah,
fundamentally, I mean, it could be. I'm not saying I believe it, but it could be that the soul, the spirit, whatever is a fundamental part of the universe, and has nothing to do with whether or not there's a deity in control of it.
right, right.
Right?
So
Yeah.
we do see that, which is interesting, but they falling for the same exact kind of the same things that everybody else is, as far as the cold reading, hot reading, people talking really fast, being a motivated sitter, law of large numbers. You throw something out to a crowd of 5 people to 50 to 500 people, it's going to hit somebody. And so it's you also have to remember that not everybody is going to fall for the world of the psychic medium. It's a niche of people, not just women. People do also. I mean, males do also. But I don't want to turn this into a big discussion of males versus females. But people can do that. But it could be a time where somebody would never have fallen for this, and then all of a sudden they go through this giant change. You, like I said, you lose your job, or somebody dies, or somebody's sick, or you're starting to feel your own mortality, and then all of a sudden you're primed for it. And then all it's going to take is for somebody to recommend a medium, or you're going to find a coupon for a
Mhm.
medium, or somebody's going to send you an email for a discounted medium, or whatever. And or your celebrities around you, Kim Kardashian and who knows who else, is recommending them as if it's real. Or we see them on TV shows, Housewives of Bel Air or whatever they are right now. They have mediums on. You have morning TV shows where they bring a person on and they're like, oh, so I see you're going to be on, you're going to be at home
Susan,
somewhere.
Dr. Oz, when the person from the same Dr. Oz in our government now, in charge of whatever he's in charge of. I try to ignore it because it just hurts so much to know this is the truth. On his TV show, I played a clip of this. He's standing on stage saying, and there's 3 women next to him, and he goes, our next segment involves these 3 women who are all psychic. Not that they claim they're psychic.
Yeah,
This is a cardiac freaking surgeon saying that.
yeah. And remember, Oprah gave these people a
Yep.
platform, and Oprah Oh my gosh, she is so beloved. So you've got people who are endorsing these. And I say the problem with, we could nip this in the bud tomorrow because we've been debunking psychics since Houdini. I mean, or maybe even before Houdini. We know what the tricks are. We understand this. We completely got this. But what's happening is enablers are making this um, more common by the celebrities are doing this by whatever nonsense they think they should be doing it. Not only the Kardashians, but and Oprah and lots of other people. But
They
the news,
normal they keep it normalized. Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, well, yeah, of course. And so you've got also the media, like I said, you've got New York Times, Washington Post, or whatever, they do a story on some medium and they don't say, or they might say way at the bottom of the article, they'll bring in a skeptic like myself and we'll get a little 2 or 3 sentences. But the rest of the main article is all about how they are real. How did you know? When did you first know you had special powers? How many people have you healed? How many people have you helped? And then also the media that are like news stations. These are news stations and they put these people on, especially in the morning, and they've got them on and they're talking. I just released a video just a few minutes ago before coming on to this for Matt Fraser in 2014 on a news show in Connecticut, and they're like, so we have Matt Fraser here who communicates with the dead. It was like no skepticism at all. And we have somebody here he's going to read. Oh, go ahead and give her a reading. Oh, that was amazing. What time is your show? When is it? When do you got to get the tickets? Let me give you here's a link on the screen that shows you your show. The other problem is the influencers. So you have social media influencers who are normalizing psychic mediums, and they're all women, right? These are women, and what they're doing is they're doing things like get ready with me videos, especially on TikTok, because there's a whole generation of people on TikTok who do not know that these things have been debunked for generations. And they get in there like, oh, they're putting on their mascara and their stuff, and they start talking about their readings or their, whatever it is. And a flood of women are watching this because these women want to be like them. So maybe they can't go to the people Kim Kardashian would go to, the famous people, but they can go to these lower level psychic mediums that an influencer is recommending. And so also women's magazines are flooded with this kind of astrology and horoscopes and all that nonsense and psychics. It's pushed to women. It's like, here, put this in your brain, normalizing that psychics are real. They don't put somebody like myself on. That's just not going to happen. And
No,
most
you're
debunkers
right.
are male. Almost everybody who's doing what I'm doing, with the exception of like myself and Fleur. Fleur has a friend of mine. She has a YouTube channel called Fleur Phantom Files. There's almost no women who are doing this. So it's men mansplaining to women about why they're wrong and how they're falling for this. Don't be silly women and falling for this.
And
It's the
probably
woman's
they're
thing, I think.
yeah, and they're gonna be most likely, in many cases, explaining it in a way that, like you said, sounds condescending or is perhaps dismissive
Mhm.
of the reasons that the women fell for it in the first place, right? Like,
Absolutely.
if there's an emotional reason that drew someone to this, or, it had to do with their connection with a family member, or, whatever the case may be, and someone's just telling you, "Well, this is because you're stupid," and dismissing any of these feelings about grief or
Mhm,
anything,
mhm.
obviously that's not gonna land
And
with
that's
the
what's
intended
happening.
audience.
Yeah, I've watched lots of videos from debunkers, and they're so happy to tell you exactly the tricks and how they were used. And they might not come out exactly saying that you are stupid for falling for this, but it's inferred. And
Mhm.
they're not empathetic at all. And I have a lot of empathy for these women who are going through this. And it's again, it's sometimes they would never have fallen for this except for the situation they're in right now. And if you're raised in
Mhm.
a world of life after death, like if you're raised as a Christian who believes in life after death, why is it so odd to think that somebody somewhere would be able to communicate with the dead. That just seems like a natural thing. If you believe in angels and demons and life after death and seeing your family members and your dog and your fish and everything on in heaven or wherever it
Mhm.
is.
Well, I know all dogs go to heaven, but do all fish go
Well,
to
of
heaven? I
course,
didn't hear
does
that before.
fish, I don't know. Does the fish that you eat go to heaven? I don't know. Nobody explains these
Ooh.
things. But the point is that somebody is why would that be odd? And they
Mhm.
also they don't use the word mediums, but there's also a lot of people who are calling themselves prophets. And they're doing exactly the same shtick as a medium is, a psychic medium, but they're
Mhm.
calling themselves from God. And God tells me. I have a clip I'm going to show you guys that is quite interesting. And I've clipped
Ooh.
everything down so much that I hopefully have included all in there, but she is heavy on the religion. Oh my gosh.
You wanna run
Ooh.
it now?
Well, I mean, I can if you want me to. I
Yeah,
have to set it
let's
up a
see it.
minute. Okay, so let me open that up. So
Yeah,
all the
I'm
clips I
ready.
have are, I mean, I was thinking today, okay, so I should probably show some clips to give examples because your audience will like that. But I thought, well, which one am I going to show that is going to be about women being manipulated? And I thought almost my entire YouTube channel is women being manipulated.
Mhm.
It's harder for me to not find a clip than it is to find a clip that is somebody being
Y
manipulated. Okay,
Yikes.
so this first woman you're going to see, it's a much longer video, and I've never shown this before. This is a clip I just did just a few hours ago. So what you're gonna see is a woman named Kimberly Meredith, and she is heavily in the religion category. I mean, they do a prayer. She's all about Mother Mary something something and angels and oh my gosh, it is heavy on the religion. So I've kind of cut that out because just to make the clip not so long. So this clip I'm going to show you is a gallery reading where there's several women. I think there might be a couple men and more than one medium. And they're calling on somebody to do a reading for them. But it's supposed to be a short reading because of the format they're doing. And so this Kimberly Meredith has pulled up this woman and you don't, she's nobody. I mean, she's just somebody who's getting a reading, but she's got a lot of issues. And some of the things Kimberly's already knows is that her husband is in very bad health and that this woman wants to leave her job and that she's not even sure her husband is her soulmate. And Kimberly's like, "Do you want to find out if your husband's a soulmate? I can ask them." So Kimberly's always talking about them. I can ask them. And Kimberly's her gig, they're so funny. She's a blinker. So what she does is she blinks like this really rapidly. And the amount of times she blinks is has something to do with her reading. So she'll blink, and it's hard to see because her glasses in this clip, but she'll blink and she'll go, okay, so I'm getting six. So there's six. And they are telling me about, okay, and she just keeps blinking. So she thinks that's how she's communicating with them, the spirits. This is amazing. And she thinks she's a human MRI machine. So she'll have people,
What?
yes, Rob, you can go to her and on Zoom and she'll look at your body. She'll have you stand up so she can see your stomach and everything. And she'll tell you her health, what she sees. Now I'm not kidding, Cara. What are you so surprised
Oh,
about?
and it's
How is
virtual
this
too. It's
how is
virtual.
this
Wow.
not illegally practicing
Because
medicine without a license?
because because the people who are buying into this are not they're not complaining about it. They're and it's
Great.
she's been doing this for years. She's I'm gonna do a series, I think, on her butt stuff. And her buddy is Thomas John, the hot
Oh,
reader, who I've caught a zillion times. So how could she not know this guy that she's hanging out with all the time is absolutely been proved to be a fraud?
well, how can she not know that she's a fraud? She's
Well,
pretending to
she's
do MRI
thinking
scans of people on
I
Zoom
know,
meetings.
but the people who get the reading say, "Oh, yes, that's right. Oh my gosh, I'll check into that," or whatever, and she says, "Well, she's God is helping her. She's not seeing it. S Mother Mary, Michael, Gabriel is the one who's doing this. She's not doing this." Some of the mediums will say that. They'll say, "Oh, I'm not seeing it," but Gabriel, Angel Gabriel's the one who said that. I'm just telling you what he said.
Well,
So
imagine if that were real, how useful she could be if she went and worked at an imaging lab and, was able to validate these observations that
you and that
Angel
thinking
whoever gave
again.
her.
What are you doing
Yeah,
with
I
this thinking?
know.
My goodness, what is this world you're in? Okay, so I'm going to show you this clip. It's 2.5
Okay.
minutes long, so bear with me that I've only seen it a couple times. I clipped it today just at random almost. So she's going to give this woman a reading, and I did clip a little bit out of the middle. I took like a minute and a half out because just for time's sake. But okay, so apparently I'm going to be able to do this. I think I could do this just fine. We're not on Zoom, so let's see. Okay, I'm going to do this. Here we go. And I have to hit the little button that says audio. I can't stand it when people do this kind of stuff where they have to describe what they're doing. But anyway, so this is Kimberly Meredith. They've already had a long prayer, and she's pulled this woman up, and she's going to give her a quick reading. And there's a sound in the background. I think it's this dog that's making noise, so just ignore that.
It's a lot about my primary questions are about my career, my future path.
Yeah, so you might want to do a private session with me because that's about an hour.
Okay.
But they're telling me you're not going to be at your future job right now. They don't see it in 2025.
They don't see me at my future job in 2025?
I think we're having
or my current job.
You're having a communication issue with me right now. Yeah. They're saying your current job, you're not going to be there in 2025.
That's the plan.
Yeah. So thank you for letting me do a reading for you. And there is somebody on the other side trying to contact you. Your husband's current husband, they're saying, they're telling me it does have some health issues. He can be healed.
That's good.
Yeah. They're saying as far as your health, there is some issues there too going on.
Yeah. Sleep issues, stress.
They're saying more than that. Yeah. More than sleep issues. There's some gut health issues going on.
Okay.
With your stomach. And once again, when I first came on, they said you come from your heart. You're very much an empath. You really take things very sensitive and empathic. So that is also, you helping your husband, you working, all that. I'm getting a negative link. So this is like you're giving a lot, you're doing a lot. And they're saying something's going to be shifted pretty soon, but we're looking at 2025, you moving, sooner than later, which 2025 is right around the corner.
And the 7, it's interesting because my plan was to retire by July of next year.
No. Not July 2025.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
I said you could ask me this as a longer reading, but they don't want to be there next year. No, sorry. They're saying no.
They're saying sooner?
Yes.
So I don't know how well you could see her blinking, but she does that throughout the whole reading, and she keeps saying they, them, they're the ones. And so some sort of entity. I'm not quite sure. I follow so many different psychics. I get them all a little blurred in my head, but this is her gig. So you can see the harm. Hopefully you guys can see that she's telling her about her career choices, that no, you're going to leave your job. I could see it. It's going to be sooner than you thought. Now, what if this woman really shouldn't leave her job? Maybe, she wants to leave her job and she's planning on leaving her job, but now she has this person who's a person of authority, right? This person's communicating with the dead. She has an MRI in her head or something, and she can see your illnesses. So she is telling you this is what's going to happen. So this woman's going to make decisions for leaving her job based on what she was just told. And there's more. What else did you guys catch when you saw that? Because there's more that we can pull from that reading. That's just
Well, the
dangerous.
part that is disturbing to me is that she's also telling her about all of these health issues that now she's allegedly having, and on top of telling her you're going to leave your job, now by the way, you're also going to have all these health issues. She's already aware that her partner is apparently having health issues. What a great time to not have insurance. I mean, not that what she's telling her about her gut health is likely true, but we already apparently know that at least her partner is having health
Yeah.
issues, and she's now confirming that she's having some related issues. And you're going to tell someone, oh, yeah, and by the way, you're going to leave your job. Well, you're really setting people up there for a lot of
Right.
problems, I think.
What
Not to
else? There's
mention
more. And there's
now
more.
oh my goodness. Well, and she's probably gonna go have a bunch of unnecessary scans done now, for her health. Oh my goodness, the amount
And
of
there's
money.
more. What else, Cara? Can you pull out of that little 2.5-minute segment I gave you?
Oh my goodness. I don't even remember. What else was she even talking about, Rob? I got
Yeah, you
stuck
don't
on the health
remember that.
issues.
They happen really fast. So you're not really paying that much attention. I mean, these women are caught up in it's an emotional time. They're talking to this woman
Yeah,
who's seen all these amazing things. So she is going to remember what she wants to remember because she's a motivated sitter. But there's even
yeah.
more. Rob, did you catch it?
Oh,
He's
Rob,
on
you're
mute.
muted.
He knows he's muted. He
You
can't hear
can't
it.
unmute? Oh, let's see if we can fix that. How
Oh, wow.
interesting.
Rob Palmer can't unmute himself.
I will unmute you. You are unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear
Yes.
me now? Oh, okay. I don't have a microphone symbol in the Riverside thing. It's just blank. It's so weird.
I know you love this
Oh,
program.
Yeah. So I don't know.
What did you catch?
I was staring closely at her eyes to see if I can catch the blinking, and I guess I wasn't. Some of the words must have got by me because pretty much what you've discussed is what I heard. I can't think of anything else.
Anybody
oh,
in the
if
chat have
yes.
what are they saying?
Some other people in the chat are talking about how she kept trying to get her to book a longer reading and she needs more sessions
Mhm.
and she's got to pay for additional
An hour at
times of
least.
having this done.
Oh,
I
I
told
heard. I
her
heard that. That's just like I assume they all do that. I mean, it's like yeah. If you're on a group reading and they're not making a lot of money per person, but yes, if you book a private session, it's going to be a lot of money. Like
yeah, she says, I
how
can
much
charge
did
you if you book a longer session.
Susan? So
Mhm.
you did this thing on Thomas John, right, where he had children sign up for how much was it?
$400
$400.
pop.
$400.
Operation Onion Ring. You can look it up.
And
But
I
it's
and I
not
and
about
I
the money.
watched that, and
It's amazing. But what you're missing also in this, and what is people else in the chat saying about that reading?
Let's see. They really do not like this lady's whole entire approach and the sound of her voice and the blinking. Oh, and empath. A lot of people picked up on her using this term empath and saying, I can tell
And
you're an empath.
why do you think that they do that? Why, you guys in the chat or everybody else, why do you think a medium pushes that? Because they do that a lot.
Oh, well, you're special. You have special powers
There's
that
another
are
reason.
is she trying to
also
get a
hard to
recruit?
pin
Is she
down.
going to try to get a recruit so she
So
could teach her?
almost all mediums offer workshops, seminars,
Mhm.
for a fee, of course, the book or a series of podcasts or whatever,
Mhm.
and they mentor you for a fee. So if they say you are also on the path, and I cut that out of the longer part. I mean, this is like about a 8-minute session with this woman. So I cut all that out, but she does tell her, if you want to, you can learn to be an empath, because I think you're on that line. They are saying you should become an empath. But there's even more, you guys. There's so much in this little clip that nobody else has said anything. She says,
Um,
let's see if there's anything else, Gara.
No, I think we covered most of it. People really got distracted. I think to your point, watching her whole production with the blinking and the arm waving and the distractions. So we may have missed some other key Easter eggs that
Well,
got
I
blended in
noticed
there.
Oh, that's good. Easter
the
eggs, yeah.
backdrop she had with the rays coming out behind her head that made her look kind of like she was angelic or something.
Oh, if you see the beginning of the video, it's all angels, and because there's several women on the screen who are doing these readings, and it's just her turn right now. But they're all, like I said, they had a group prayer, and they've got angels, and oh, it's crazy. It's just wild out there. But one of the things you might not have noticed is she says your current husband.
Oh, yes, I did hear her say that. I didn't know if that was connected to something they had previously discussed. Oh, so she's telling her she's gonna get a divorce, or
Or
her
who's
husband is
gonna
gonna
die
pass,
or
or
something. Yeah, because she says to
ooh.
her, because she says, well, earlier the woman says, my husband has a lot of health issues. And then she does say something about soulmates. And then the woman says, the sitter says, kind of like, and then Kimberly says, are you saying your husband is not your soulmate? And she goes, I don't know. She goes, do you want me to tell you if he is or not? I can ask them. And she says, oh, but we are live on YouTube, so maybe you should get a private session with me, because that might be not a good thing. She's like, okay. So she already knows there's an issue with her husband, that maybe they're not fit for each other. But she uses in the clip, she says, your current husband is whatever
Mhm.
she says. So it's a little bit of, you might be leaving your husband, or your husband might be leaving you, or he might be dying, even though she says he can be healed. Does that mean
Mhm.
Kimberly's going to heal him? What does it mean?
For
Because
a
Kimberly
fee.
does healings, and she does all these things, that are, I didn't show you in those clips, but she does laying on hands, and I think she does Reiki and
Oh,
some
that's
of the things.
convenient. She's not only a diagnostic being with MRI in her brain, she can also have healing powers.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, it's amazing. And she's
Yeah,
at she'll go to your
convenient.
hospital. But there's another thing that's so much more important that I don't think most people talk about. I think I'm the only one that's mentioning this these days. But what is going on is what is missing. So anything else in the chat, Cara, that
Um,
people have pulled up? I'm
someone is
curious what other
mentioning
people see.
the authoritative tone of her voice, was notable,
Good. That's a
just
good
in
one.
the
Thank you guys
delivery.
for noticing that. That's
Mhm.
right. She is a woman of authority, and she's firm. She's like, "No, you will be leaving. They are saying you are done earlier than July." Even though the woman has tells her eventually that she works for the state of California, I guess like in a county, or these are good jobs with good benefits and stuff like
And
that.
it's for
And she's
actual
telling her, you're going to leave your job and you're going to go and do something that's in uh the field of helping people in teaching or something, and she's like, oh, okay, am I okay? So that's cut out of the video. But what is really missing here is, again, with the authority, this woman thinks that she is seeing a person of authority who is a walking MRI machine, a human MRI machine, who can look into your body and see these things. And Mother Mary, Gabriel, Foxtrot, whatever out there is able to have is communicating with her directly and telling you about your health issues, right? So I don't know about you, Cara. I'm not keen on going and getting my mammograms. I do. I've had breast cancer, but it is not like something I'd say, oh boy, I get to go get my mammogram today. I'm going to get everything pushed and shoved. And oh my gosh, I hope it hurts good. No. And you don't say, oh, I can't wait for my colonoscopy. Yay, yay, yay. I mean, no, you don't want to get that done. So, what is going on in this woman's mind when she's just had a one-on-one with this MRI machine person? She's going to say to herself, I went to a psychic and all she saw was my gut problem. Or
Mhm.
a lot of them will say your knee, or you're having problems with your feet, or you need to drink more water. I mean, there's a
You have
psychic that
back
says
pain.
you have lower back pain, but everything else is good, because if the medium had seen something, she would have told you, oh my God, you need
Well
to get in and get your heart checked right now. Or, oh my gosh, you better go get your breast exam today. Oh my
well,
gosh, your
only
blood
if you
pressure's
book the
out of the door.
private session. You gotta pay for the
Only
extra session to get that good info.
and what is that going to take to get to your appointment with it? So the point is, this woman who's the sitter is going to say, I
Hmm.
could put off my mammogram this year because I don't want to go do it. And the psychic said it's fine. She looked,
Mhm.
there's nothing there. Or she's going to say, I don't need my colonoscopy this year. I could put it off another year. Or I don't need that. I don't need this thing, or I don't need that thing. So you're
Mhm.
not going to take your health seriously. Or if you say, if you've been having a problem, like you've been having some kind of thing that you should get checked out, like, your elevated heart rates or whatever it is, you're having symptoms, and you say to yourself, I'll just let that pass. I'll give it a 6 more months. Oh, I don't know. It's the holidays. I'll wait until after the holidays. I'll do this because why would you, right? Why would you want to um go and do unnecessary getting appointments? As you know, as you've said several times, Cara, this healthcare stuff is serious these days. You can't,
Mhm.
you're losing coverage. People might go off of their they might go off of their medical care because we know that the it's going up. It's doubling in some cases.
Yes,
And
the
so
co-pays for the insurance.
yeah,
Yeah.
so why I'd rather see Kimberly. I mean, I don't have to have any exams or anything. Why do I need insurance when I got somebody like Kimberly?
And
So
and Su- and, Su- and Susan, so you mentioned the lockdowns and the pandemic, causing people to be more susceptible to having problems. But the other thing I'm sure it did was like more psychics. There are more psychics than there used to be, I believe, because now you don't have to rent a hall to do this. Now you just use Zoom or some
yes,
other
yeah,
virtual platform. It
excellent
has to be
point.
so much easier to pull this bullshit on people,
Okay, yeah.
and for people to find it.
So here's my premise, and I have no idea how much time we have, but I could talk for a
We've got
while.
about 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I got 2 more clips to show you guys, so I gotta do
We
that.
got we'll make time.
Okay, so let me tell you this. Here's what's going on, especially during the pandemic, and this is again going to gender. So women as a society are underemployed, underpaid. The people who are usually all the burden falls on for raising children, taking care of the elderly, handling somebody's home it needs to be home sick. They're the ones that usually have to stop working to go do that. So during the pandemic, especially, a lot of women found themselves in service jobs and that they couldn't go to work. And so and their kids are home and they're supposed to be homeschooling them all of a sudden, and so somebody has to be home with these kids, and it falls on the woman. So what they were doing during the pandemic is looking for ways of making money. So a lot of them went on to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and they just, like you said, Rob, you don't need a website, you don't need a venue. I'm Susie Psychic now. And so they would go on. It's a cash world. So people are being Venmoed, PayPal, and any other Apple Cash, which does not need to be reported to any governmental stuff. So these are cash sales. A woman could go on and do tarot readings, or she could do mediumship readings in 15 minutes of training, and she's got enough to put dinner on the table tonight. I mean, instantly. I mean, it's like she doesn't want to do Pornhub or OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
Right, so you could do this, and your kids are doing their homework right over here, and it's fine. So that's what we
Mhm.
saw, an influx of psychic mediums in the pandemic era because of that, because these women
Oh,
are just kind of being forced into this world because they're being told, "Oh, you're an empath," or, "Oh, it's so easy, I'll set you up." Or when they do readings, they don't get criticism. Nobody ever fights back and says, that was pretty general, or why'd you use the name that? Everybody uses that name. So it's just
yeah.
amazing. Okay, so I've got more clips to show you guys. How do you want to do
Yeah.
this?
Well, and while you're pulling that up, I was just going to say something else that you made me think of just now too with the kind of gendering of this field is, another key piece here may be that we do have a real history of women's health issues being dismissed or being understudied in
Absolutely.
actual legitimate healthcare settings. So that kind of sets people up for wanting to seek alternative services if they're not getting good care at your normal, reputable healthcare sources. I can see why that would be another factor that could push people to seek alternatives and say, well, why am
Mhm.
I going to pay all that money for something that, they haven't tested the drugs on people like me? They're not going to listen to my concerns when I get to the doctor's office. I'm going to spend $80 to talk to a doctor for 4.5 minutes. I can talk to someone for an hour, for the same
For
amount
a
of money,
fraction
and
of the
they're going to
cost.
listen to me.
And
Yeah.
also these women they're getting more than just a health thing. I mean, she goes into detail in this interview about, her career and I mean, I'm surprised she didn't talk about the dog, but it's just on, and you're going to go into this other thing. And so like you said, you're going to go see a doctor. They're going to talk, okay, what are your, let's do your blood pressure. They do those little things. And then the doctor, they're in a hurry, even though at least most of my doctors are always try to be compassionate, but they're just in a hurry. I got to get to the other room. We don't have time to have a little chit chat and talk about my
Right. It's
career.
very clinical. You're in, you're out. We stuck you with some needles, come back for follow-up or for your
Yeah.
other
Let me
tests,
know
and
how
it's
that,
not a
are you
pleasant
having,
experience.
exactly. Okay. So let me set this up. This
Yes.
next clip is only a minute. It's 2.5 minutes long. Okay. But it's pretty quick. I can set it up for you. So last Monday, you guys had something on our RfRx, I believe, last Monday, and I couldn't make it because I had a reading with Bob the psychic. So he had sent me an email. I have no idea who this guy is, but he's a medium and does tarot. So I'm like, all right. And it was only $44. So I'm like, cool. I've got, I'm funded by the James Randi Educational Foundation and donors. They give me money just so I can do these kinds of things. And so I went to see this guy. So I'm going to show you a clip. I am playing Joanne. I'm sitting in the same venue that I'm in right now, but all my books are covered up with other paraphernalia. You guys will notice that. I put a picture of my dad, which is not my dad. It's some character from some Doctor Who or something that's sitting next to me. And what I've cut out on this is I paid for the reading and I asked him, I want to know about my dad. And I turned and looked at the picture like that. And he told me how my dad is very proud of me and so on. And then I said, I want to know about my grandkids. And he went on and told me about my grandkids and how one of them's an empath. And, he got their ages and the gender right. I have no grandkids, you guys. I have no grandkids. But he told me all about my 3 non-existent grandkids. So then he goes on to the other women on the screen. And then he loops back to me. And I'm like, I'm going to ask a health question. So I'm going to show you me asking him a health question. I want to see what you think of this response. So everybody better be paying attention because I want to hear what you guys think.
Okay, now that we know there's going to be a quiz, we're paying
Quiz
attention.
after the video.
Yeah. Okay. So share. Oh yeah. This is just so strange. Okay. I have more buttons to click. So there are other women on the screen. It turns out I think it's me and like 2 other women who paid. Everybody else is like works with this guy.
I haven't really noticed it so much here, but you all might have. So if you aren't, it's not that you're asking the same
I think the volume is a little bit low.
I don't know how to turn that up.
Yeah, I'm just turning it up on your own computer. As long as we don't talk, we won't blow people out.
If it made sense to you, that's kind of part of the way my gift always works. It's always like for more than just the one person that I am talking to. Oh, okay. So one of the questions I want to ask you is, I'm supposed to have surgery in a couple month, but I'm really worried about having the because I'm going to have the grandkids. My life revolves around them, and I really want to be, the cool grandma. And I'm afraid. I'm thinking of postponing it. Surgery. I already know what I does she do that with surgery? Well, I wanted to at least postpone it if I could, but the doctor says he doesn't want me to postpone it. But I thought after the holidays it'd make more sense because I want to be around for them with Christmas and Thanksgiving. I feel like maybe that's why I'm getting no on that, because when you said like the doctor postponed it, then I heard like February. Maybe that's what I'm. No, he doesn't want to postpone it. I want to postpone it. I feel, where's my pendulum? Because I just don't want to. I mean, I don't want to be recovering and stuff while the grandkids are here. It should be postponed. Hold on, let me just ask this. Oh yeah, so for those of you who have a pendulum, you can. Show me this.
Oh my freaking God! He's using a pendulum.
Should she postpone the surgery? Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Should it be in December? Should it be in November? Should it be in January? Should it be in February? Okay, my pendulum says February 2. Also. Well, I can ask my doctor. He's not going to be happy about it. I don't feel like is it an urgent thing? Like you need it like yesterday? Well, he thinks I should have it, but I mean, I've been waiting for a long time. But the more I think about it, the more I think I really don't want to disrupt my Christmas and Thanksgiving with the grandkids. So I feel like it would in some way. That's why I feel like February is the time.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Can I tell him? Can I refer him to you? Because he's not gonna like it. He's not gonna like me telling him.
In that case, because I'm not a doctor.
But if that's what you see,
I also feel like if your gut is telling you that, maybe you should. I mean, tell him. I don't want to, ask what it. Yeah, because I don't need to know what it is. But I just get that. Well, that's what. So when I ask like what it is, they're just pointing at your brain. Okay, it's not brain surgery. No. So I mean, I know that. So that's what I feel like. But I just feel like I got that it could wait till February.
Okay, big yikes.
watching your faces is the best part of this. Is yeah, you guys are just cracking up. No, this is. So I had a friend, Paul, who was watching this because I live streamed this onto my Facebook page as it happened, the whole hour, and all the other
Amazing.
people's readings and everything. My friend Paul goes, "No way, no way! This shouldn't be allowed. This is ridiculous. You should call your friends at the New York Times." And he was very upset. And he's like, "You should call the New York Times and tell them what's going on." And I said, "Paul, this happens all the time. This is common." When you're getting into these little kind of rooms where they think they're with their own followers, they'll say whatever. This is constant where they're manipulating these people. I mean, he was like, the pendulum, it was so stupid, but still, he's like, even though he says, "I'm not a doctor," well, what are you doing giving you health advice? Oh, you can put it off till February. That's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. And at no point did you even tell him what the alleged surgery was, if I heard correctly. He's just like, "It's not brain surgery, right? Okay, it's probably fine."
I was making it up. You guys. I'm not having any surgery. I made it up on the fly like 10 seconds
Right.
before I asked that question. I said, "I'm going to ask a health question. I guess I'll ask this one."
So per your comment, Susan, this is not unusual, right? Gwyneth Paltrow supports and promotes on her Goop, publications, this guy called the medical medium, Anthony Williams, who does exactly this and in a larger scale. He channels somebody called Spirit who gives medical advice through him.
Yeah.
Imagine that being your name. Like, okay, let's say that if this were a real thing and it was possible for us to become spirits and be contacted by psychic mediums and give medical advice, why would your name be Spirit? Like, would you not like have your own name? Like, I don't understand.
I want a
Come
cool
on.
name. Well, the guy that you just saw, Bob the
Person,
Bob the psychic, he tells us right at the beginning that his spirit guides are the drones, like a boy band or something. They're the drones, Jerome, and he says it just so happens to be my middle name. I'm like, okay. Okay,
Okay,
so
that's more weird, actually.
yeah.
That made it more weird.
Before I show you the last clip, and I have, is there anybody in the chat that has anything else they want to say about that? Again, saying I'm going to a person of authority who's seeing that everything is going to be fine. I mean, isn't saying, "Oh, you also have early cancer. You need to go get that checked right now," because
his necklace pendulum just told you it was fine.
yeah. So I mean, there could be something else wrong with me, but I might not notice, or I might pass up because I just had my 101 with the psychic. Cost me.
I don't know who I should trust less: the person who can blink an MRI at you, or the person who takes a necklace out and it's a pendulum that gives medical advice.
I kid you not. This is a common thing, you guys. It is not like what you see on Tyler Henry and Matt Fraser and Teresa Pluto and John Edward. That is a different kind of mediumship than I'm interested in. Yes, I follow that. I know that. I understand that. But this is a different world when we get into the private gallery readings. And I'm really glad you guys are letting me showcase this here, because this is fun, for me to be able to explain it to you guys. And you guys are knowledgeable about it, and asking great questions. So it's cool.
But the problem is, as you said before, I think, the networks and the cable stations and whatever, and the streaming services, showing those people, the people you named, as if they're real, promotes these people indirectly. That people, why wouldn't I believe somebody who can do this?
Absolutely. Right. And then, so once it's normalized, and whenever you go to the media and you say, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Well, they ignore all my calls. They don't I try to reach out to these people, say, what are you doing? We are living in a world of misinformation, and adding to it is not helping any. I mean, this is dumbing down society and making people like not take things seriously about, I mean, they're going to go get injections of bleach in their, and take fish food or whatever, and try to feed, get rid of their medications. But they say it's entertainment and they're helping people because they don't know about these clips. This is like, they've never heard of this. If I showed this to somebody in the media, they'd go, do exactly what you guys did. Oh my gosh, this is going on? I thought they were trying to help people with grief, and no, that's not what's happening, people. I have I have hours after hours after hours of this, you guys.
So what's your channel, Susan? I don't think we've said it.
Psychics Explained. Psychics Explained. Psychics Explained. I get into the weeds and do exactly what I'm doing right now to there. Now I want to show you this last clip. We got time for that? It's a minute and 20 seconds, but I have to show you some screenshots after this. So it's really quick. Okay, what you're seeing is a gallery reading. This is a gallery reading. So you might see, I blurred everybody, but the people that are the psychic, there's two psychics. It's Thomas John and it is Suzanne Northrup, been around for like since the 70s. And then there's, I think it's Thomas John's sister or something like that. Everybody else.
So the Thomas John that got written up in the New York Times as
Operation Pizza Roll, Operation Onion Ring. Google those. So there are some men on the screen. I thought that was interesting. And these aren't the only people on the Zoom. There's other people on the Zoom. They just, their pictures are on a different screen. So they're blurred, but you can kind of see. One of the women is getting a reading. Now, Thomas John is a hot reader. Remember I said this is unusual. Hot readers are not common. But the woman has her name on the freaking Zoom screen. And so they're taking turns. Suzanne's doing a reading. Thomas John's doing a reading. Suzanne's doing a reading. So there's like 10 minutes. And you can see Thomas John. I'm watching him on the video and his eyes are like this, going back and forth. And you can see the screens, like the reflection of the screen. He doesn't have glasses on, but you can see the screens change as he's going through screens to look for something. He's searching for something. We can see this. So he's going to the woman's Facebook page. And I know because we know what her real name is because I have her Facebook pages. Now look how he manipulates this woman. It's just it's disgusting. You guys prepared? You're sitting down, right? Is everybody out there on the chat sitting down? Because this is
trigger warning.
Stuff. You didn't think you're going to get this stuff. Okay, here we go. This is a minute and a half, and I've cut it down. I'll tell you what happens outside of what you can't see. So it's Thomas John talking to a woman, and you can't see which woman it is because I've blurred everything.
Let's go to the next person.
Is it good?
Can you hear? Somebody scream in my ear loud.
It's very low volume.
Coming through. Younger guy died very, very abruptly. And he keeps telling me his name is Jonathan. So I don't know who that is for.
He already knows who this is, you guys. He already knows who he's going to. He's just playing a game.
But you were so close that you were like family. In fact, you might have liked him more than certain members of your family. He says there was a time in your life where it was like if you saw one of you, you saw the other one. Like you guys were always together. Does that make sense to you?
It was the entire time.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. People would tease you guys about like, what is the deal with you guys? You know?
Yes.
You were always together.
Always.
Come on, he keeps shoving a peanut butter and jelly sandwich down my throat.
Oh my God.
He's literally shoving it down my throat.
They called us peanut butter and jelly.
That's what he's trying to give me. He's trying to say peanut butter and jelly because he's like,
oh my God. That's crazy.
I'm telling you, this is what I'm dealing with this guy. He's like crazy.
Okay, so I need to show you a couple screenshots, but let me give you just a tiny bit of background. So what Thomas John has done, and it takes just seconds. I mean, it takes me maybe 2 or 3 minutes with an open Facebook page. I can find something that is going to be relevant. I can find your grief. I can find what it is. It's not hard. I do this all the time, and I've been doing it for years. It's not a difficult thing. So anybody who's going to try to tell me this is like not possible. It is extremely possible. So we went into her Facebook page. I'm pulling them up really quick so that I don't have to keep screen sharing. And okay, I want to get these in a different order to show you. Hold on a second. So what he's done is he already knows who he's going to call on. That is his modus operandi. I know because I've been following him for years and I've been busting him for years. So he already knows that. So he's just playing around with this. Oh, I'm getting somebody named Jonathan. He knows damn well who he's going to go call in next. He knows it's this woman. So he just gives enough information for her to say, oh, that must be me. And then they pin her or whatever they do. You know, they unmute her. And so he just reads off the Facebook pages. Now, I'll tell you in a minute what actually happens afterwards. So these are screenshots. I've got 3 to prove that what he's doing.
Right. So like he could have found everything that he just described by looking at her name and Googling her name and going on Facebook and
Because
seeing
I did the
all
exact
this.
same thing. My team and I went to her Facebook page in minutes. Once we knew her name, we had her. It was like the first thing that pulled up. So here's what's on her Facebook page. Let me make that a little bigger.
Is it going to be something about peanut butter and jelly?
I don't know, Rob. What do you think? Are you psychic? Do you
That's
know?
my guess.
Okay,
Yep,
so
Non-psychic guess.
so
he
her
signs
reading.
it PB&J.
So her reading is after. I mean, these screenshots are before her reading, and I want to point that out. So that's why I left the date clear. April 6th, 2020. I just blurred out her name. I can't believe it's been over 7 months since you've been gone, Jonathan. And I blurred out his last name. My heart is still so broken. I don't imagine it won't ever be. I miss you more than I would ever express in words. My life is just not the same without you in it. I think about you all day, every day. I love you forever, J. PB&J.
Oh, there it is.
And Jonathan's 30th birthday surprise party. Okay, so that's one. Let's go to the next one. I have to reshare, I guess. Okay.
That was a weird way he put it, by the way. It's like the spirit is shoving a peanut butter and jelly sandwich down his throat. Like, what the hell?
He is just so obnoxious. And again, I've covered up all the photos, but these photos are absolutely clear on her Facebook page. And here she posts in August, just a little bit after the last one. It doesn't feel like it's been a year since you've been gone. My heart broke that day into a million little pieces. I think about you all the time, every minute of every day. Our bond is like no other. And the bottom of that screen is this one. Sorry, you guys. I'm just not as comfortable finding these screenshots as normal. See it?
PB&J.
Right.
Yeah.
So this guy he's egregious. He's like one of the top grief vampires. Like I said, I busted him a zillion times. He's still in business. His business is waning, but you know, we are having an impact, but it is scary. But what goes on in this reading that I cut out because just for time's sake, he goes on and talks to this woman as if this man had a crush on her. And he's like, oh, he thought highly of you. He thought that maybe something would happen between you two, and on and on. Totally. I mean, I went through her Facebook page and I didn't get that vibe at all. She wasn't even, I don't think she even got to go to his funeral. There's no personal stuff about how he died. Otherwise, Thomas John would have mentioned it. I Googled it. I couldn't find his death certificate, nothing. So, and I got onto his Facebook page because the woman's linking to his Facebook page on her own Facebook page. And so this guy was not, I doubt this guy was ever attracted to her. I mean, there was nothing. It was just like, we're best friends, we're good friends. But here's Thomas John leading this woman into thinking this man had he'd hoped that he'd be able to have had a relationship with you beyond friendship and that maybe you guys would become a couple. And it's utter BS. And it's just cruel because here now this woman's whole impression of her relationship with this guy is completely not what she thought. She thought we were good friends. No, he wanted to have a sexual permanent relationship with you. happening. It is so manipulative. And this woman, years after the death of this guy, is still posting on her Facebook page about how she's devastated by his loss. This woman needs professional grief counseling. She does not need to be seeing a psychic medium. I've had this video out for a couple of years now, and it's got like 50 views. But I call it PB&J if you guys want to see it in full. But it pisses me off because they get, media coverage and it's all fun and games and entertainment, but that's not what's happening. This is manipulative, cruel, abusive behavior to women. Yes, some men, but majority is women. And like Rob has had multiple interviews with Bob Nygaard, a friend of mine. And Bob Nygaard says one of the hardest parts of getting these things prosecuted is the police won't take them seriously when a woman reports a crime. They say, you should have known. It's a psychic. What's wrong with you? Why are you giving money to a psychic? You're stupid.
Yeah,
right?
the line typically is, no one put a gun to your head. It's not a crime, although in fact it is listed as a crime. But
These are vulnerable people in a vulnerable situation. Yes, that's their money. They can spend it how they want. If they think they're getting something out of it, more power to them. I'm, these are adults. So if they want to go and buy, a gallon of ice cream and binge it, eat it with a spoon, that's their business, right? And this is another way of wasting your money. But it's not about money. And people keep coming back to the money. It's about manipulation of these people in vulnerable situations. I think they get off on it. A lot of these mediums, the power, it'd be like being in a priesthood or something or beyond. Are more elevated than a priest. These are people in direct communication with Mary Elizabeth Angel of the internet or whatever. These are people who are, there's only so many mediums, right? There's tons of priests. But if you are manipulated by a priest or somebody in power, a reverend or whatever, and you're afraid to challenge them, these are worse. These are grief vampires, people.
And you bring up a really good point. I can absolutely see why there would be difficulty prosecuting it because I imagine that people that have been taken advantage of in this way have probably talked about it to a family member or a friend who did make them feel silly for it. And we're like, that is completely ridiculous. How could you be so dumb to fall for that? And people don't want to report things that have happened to them if it makes them feel stupid or makes them look bad because they don't want to have to answer that question from several other people in authority saying, hold on a minute. You're telling us you still believed them at this point and then paid money again. Like, it's gonna be embarrassing. And
they don't know they don't know. These people are still going to these mediums and they do not realize they have just been conned. They have no idea. No idea. The question I get most often, Cara, is people, when I do bust a psychic that maybe they believed in, the question I get, well, this guy's a fraud. So which one's the real one?
Oh no.
I get that all the time. So Susan, you do believe in psychics, right? But just some of them are frauds, right? I'm like, no, none of them are real. This is impossible. Oh, come on, Susan. Which ones are the real ones? You must have had an experience. Maybe you haven't had a real reading. Maybe you haven't had a good reading. I've had lots of readings. I don't need to keep having readings. This is impossible. This is an impossible task. Everything that people tell me are all anecdotes. They're like, my friend told me this story, or I had a reading and I'm not stupid. And he told me things there's no way you couldn't have known. It's nonsense. You're not listening to a recorded message where somebody else can repeat it and listen to it. You're just relying on your memory. When they go back and look at the reading and we really slow it down and think about what's going on, it's not what these people remember. And I've got videos showing that they mishear. I've got videos of specifically, I have one video. If you want to watch one video to see this in action, go to my YouTube channel, Psychics Explained, and I have a video called This. And I think I have an exclamation point. Just put in this. And it is exactly what is going on is these people hear something different. And I play the clip of the reading, and then I go back and I show the actual fact of what the person is saying. The person says, he was in contact of my brother. But then I play the clip and it's like, all the psychic said was, I'm getting an older man. And the woman says, that must be my brother. And so when the reading's over, they say, he got my brother right off the bat. I don't know how he did that. It's because you're mishearing because you're a motivated sitter. And I have a lot of empathy for these people because we're not training people. This is society is not teaching people what you guys all now know. And I hope your guys' listeners, all the viewers on here.
Susan, have I told you the story about Ross Blotcher, who we've had on
Yeah.
RfRx several times, by the way,
You can tell
making
the story.
that same mistake?
Yeah, it's a common mistake, but go ahead and
Yeah.
give it. It's a really good
Yeah,
example.
yeah. So Ross, who's spoken here several times, has podcast "Oh No, Ross and Carrie," where they go and investigate all sorts of things. And in this one episode, which I was listening to, he and his co-host Carrie Poppy were comparing notes about what happened at a public reading with a psychic medium. And Ross is reading his notes first about, well, she wasn't right about a lot of things, but she came right over and she knew whoever it was, my grandmother's name, right? She's right there, Samantha. And then Carrie interrupts. No, that's not what I wrote down. She came over to you and said it was, and she named 5 names, and he had no recollection of that. And they're there to investigate this and are used to this. And it even happened to Ross.
Yeah, it's common. I can watch a clip. Like I will do a clip, and if you guys go to my YouTube channel, Psychics Explain, make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to get
Like
out
and
there.
subscribe.
Like and
I've
subscribe.
dropped it in the chat so
thank
people
you.
can go check it out.
So I will watch a clip that's a minute, 2 minutes long. Sometimes I take notes, and I am repeating it back, giving commentary to the camera. I've already forgotten. It's like, did he say his brother's name was Robert? What was the name again? I can't even remember. It was a minute ago, and I am not emotionally caught up in the reading. And just like with you guys, when we went over and we talked about the clips, you're like, wait, did he say that? Oh, yeah, you're right. He did say that. You just can't, our minds can't do it, especially like you're caught up in what's going. It's like it's the gorilla with the basketball, right? You're just focusing on the wrong thing and you're missing this other stuff that's going on. Our brains aren't wired that way unless you have a recording. And most of these people don't make recordings. They're just telling me, oh my gosh, I had this reading. I'm like, that's nice. Where's the reading? I don't have one. Okay, well, I can tell you I have a pink elephant in my garage, whatever.
It's a bunch of things, Susan, right? It's this, and as what you said before, they're also motivated to believe it.
They don't want to look like a fool. If you get in a relationship with somebody and everybody tells you, you really shouldn't get in this relationship, this is really destructive. And they're like, no, I feel so good. They're wonderful. They treat me like a princess or a queen or whatever. I love it. They treat me like no other person. It's amazing. And you guys just don't understand him. Right. So whenever you get out of the relationship, it's a whole different story. But whenever you start seeing the abuse, you're like, no, I didn't make that mistake. I would never be that stupid to do that. Everybody else around you can see the abuse and they're like, oh no, you're misreading the whole situation. No, he's not like that. Or she's not like that. It's human. It's very human. There's nothing more human than what we're seeing right now.
And it sounds like, this sort of not being listened to and not being made to feel important or smart or reasonable may in some ways be connected to what's driving people to seek out these services in the first place, and certainly could be an impediment to getting out of it too. So I really appreciate that the way you've presented it today is not about, how foolish that people could fall for this, but how easy it would be to fall for this under the right circumstances.
Right.
Almost anyone could be fooled.
Yeah, you get it in a situation yourselves. So I mean, people
Yeah.
are always telling me, I wouldn't fall for it. You might not
Yeah.
fall for it, but there are other scams out there that are just as blatant that you will fall for. If your attention is diverted, you click on a phishing thing on your computer, or you think you're talking to somebody, but you're not talking to the person you thought. We all fall for scams because there's a moment in time when you're tired or you're led to believe that this is okay. You buy a timeshare or whatever. I don't know. You just get yourself in these situations and you just don't. They're manipulating. These people are good at manipulation and we can't see it. Or people will say, who would, I get this also, no way would somebody take advantage of a vulnerable person. What are you talking about? Well, they would never do that. They're godly people. Why would they do that? It's like, goodness gracious, do you watch the news? Come on. Is there a
Apparently
profit to be
not.
made somehow? Of course they're going to take advantage of you. Just
So,
Yes.
so Susan, speaking of taking advantage, you
I
mentioned
want to talk about cryptocurrency today. That's what I
yeah,
thought.
and we were going to get to that. Maybe in the hangout, we're going to find out everything
Yes.
Susan knows
I
Come to
about.
the
want to sell
hangout for the
cryptocurrency.
crypto conversation.
And of
Psychic medium cryptocurrency.
And of course, how you are hiding the truth about the reptilians and are,
I am
interfacing with aliens.
I tell you, over here on my right-hand side, which you guys couldn't see, is I was actually typing and taking care of all the edits. You just can't see. I'm hiding disclosure.
Oh,
Seriously.
absolutely.
All right,
So
so
on the other hand, I'm doing something else.
I do want to. I put the link in the chat to my recent interview with Bob Nygaard. You mentioned him, and to me, he's one of the epitomes of what can go wrong with believing in this kind of nonsense. Okay, so you go in, you're out $100, $200, and they take advantage of your grief, and that's bad enough. But people have lost their life savings. Once you believe this, if you fall into the hands of somebody who is willing to do it to you, you are at their mercy. And if you're a believer in this, you could be taken for, it's unbelievable, but people have lost millions of dollars. Famous people, CEOs, doctors, head of corporations.
Stripper, that one that turned into a stripper. So
Yeah, from Brazil, right. She had to drop out of medical school and
become a stripper
to keep paying money to the and as you would learn if you watch my video with Nygaard, people he knows have killed themselves because of the financial destitution that the psychic con artists have caused them.
And so now that's a different wing than I'm dealing with. So Bob, and he makes it clear in the video that the interview that Rob does, it's an excellent video, by the way. Bob Nygaard works on a part of the psychic world. Yes, there are different worlds of psychic mediumship. That is the curse mediums, those people who see curses on you. They see the destruction and the awful things, and your miscarried baby is now in purgatory and you got to pay to get him out, or money is the root of all evil. So bring the money, we're going to bury it, then I'll give it back to you, and I've got to take the curse off. That's a different wing. I don't deal with that. But Bob doesn't deal with the wing I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with those mediums who says everything's wonderful. They love you. They're following you around. They went to your wedding. I'm dealing with a different wing, and those require different tactics. They are kind of the same, but it's a different type of the psychic world. So I'm dealing with mediumship. He's dealing with psychic curse, people who see curses or something.
Yeah. Well, and that leads me to a question. We are over time, but I do want to have a chance to ask.
If they want to ask questions, I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do at least this question, because it kind of reminded me of what you were talking about. Someone is saying, it seems like there would be at least some number of people who realize that they've been scammed this way. And have you ever encountered such a group? Are there like support groups for this, or people that will get together and say, hey, this is a scam? Or have you ever been able to dig people out?
Thomas John has 2 Facebook groups that are Thomas John Scammed or something, and I didn't create them. He's also got a ton of negative on Better Business Bureau and Yelp, and I mean they just eviscerate him, because one of the things that Thomas John does is not only does he hot read, but he takes money for the reading and then doesn't give the reading, and they can't get their money back. He'll make the reading for a year from now, and or 6 months from now, and people will pay it, or you could pay more for a reading, emergency reading, if you want. But he's almost not, it's almost obvious. I mean, he's not going to do the reading. He's going to wait till the moment he's supposed to do the reading. He's going to make an excuse, and we've chronicled tons of excuses. He's got to pick somebody up at the airport. His dog had to be taken to the vet. He lost somebody's luggage. He's got COVID.
Wait, so you mean unforeseen circumstances would cause him to not be able to
They
do the
don't.
reading?
Yeah, nobody catches on that. So these women, and they're all women, in these Facebook groups are just pissed. And so they're talking about best practices of how to get money back from him. He's lost his ability to use PayPal. He was using other people's PayPal to be able to give money refunds. He calls people up and curses them out for being, whatever, and then blocks them if people complain. If you Google Thomas John Medium, and I've got a bunch of videos on this that show the conversations. So yes, in the Thomas John world, people are upset, but it's because they lost their money. They didn't get the reading. And so I tell these women, I'm like, if you got the reading, he's just going to read your social media back to you. So do you not understand that you lost $80? Okay. But you would have lost $80 anyway, because he's not really talking to the dead. And I can read your go and look at your social media right now. Go look at your brother's obituary. That's all he's going to be telling you. And also he's taking from one woman and giving, when he gets a refund, he's giving it to another woman. He's just taking from other women because he's booking. I mean, I get an email from him almost every day saying, hey, I've got a sale today, get your reading in a week, or I'll send you this. Or he's just, it's just awful. So they keep talking about class action lawsuits. It's just nonsense.
So South Park did an episode about John Edward called "The Biggest Douche in the Universe." Perhaps they need to do the bigger douche in the universe.
Well, the thing is, I just got an interview with the Sydney Morning Herald, and it was also in Brisbane and in Melbourne. So it just happened. John Edwards is over there. The guy the person who interviewed me is just anti John Edward. And he just wants to talk about how John Edward does these tricks. He throws out letters. And I wrote back to the reporter when he asked me if I would do an interview. I said, look, here's what's going on. And I gave him what I just told you guys about how women are being manipulated, and it's a crime against women. And we don't need more. Well, it's just another guy, a male reporter, talking about how stupid women are and how dare you, blah, blah, blah. And what we need to get at is the psychology of what's going on with these women and these other mediums. There's a lot of women who are fooled to get into this world thinking they're helping people. And these are probably people who would be very good in the nursing field, very empathetic, very charismatic, and just nice people, but they can't because they're underemployed. They've got kids at home. They've got to take care of their in-laws. They can't get into the schooling. So they're just going into mediumship because they think it's helping people. But what happened in this interview that I did is that he's like going on about John Edward. And I said, John Edward is old news. Okay. If South Park calls you out as being the biggest douche in the universe, what can I, Susan Gerbic, say? I mean, I can show the methods and stuff, but he's already the biggest douche in the universe, according to South Park. It's even on his Wikipedia page. But how in the world can you go lower than that? So let's move on to mediums that are like doing these other things, because if people haven't figured out that John Edward is cold reading and doing this stuff. I mean, people have written articles about him for years, not only me, but South Park? Come on. There's nothing I can say or do that's going to be able to be reflective of the level of what South Park has done. And yet he's still in business and still touring Australia, even though when COVID hit, he had to cancel his entire tour of Australia.
He didn't see it coming, Susan?
No, he did.
I'm shocked.
I made screenshots. I went to everybody's website. They had to cancel tours, and nobody's calling him on it saying, well, wait a minute. Why did you? I mean, the whole country got locked down, and you can't come here, John Edward, and you planned all these event days. So explain to me why you planned it that way. Couldn't you see like the force that there's going to be some kind of, no one challenges them. The media doesn't even challenge them. No one. I put that article out, and my editor, Barry Carr at Skeptical Choir, goes, oh, wow, I've never seen anybody do anything like this. I'm like, I got the damn screenshots, all of them. There were people like Teresa Caputo and others. They'd cancel their event, and then months later they'd reschedule it, And then they had to cancel that because COVID was still going on. And then they'd say, and like Tyler Henry and others would say, we're canceling this event for safety reasons and blah, blah, blah. We'll let you know when it's safe to come back. It's like, shouldn't you know that already, Tyler? I mean, come on.
Aren't people paying you to tell them things like that?
Tyler Henry had to evacuate his house in LA because the freaking LA is all on fire. And I have a video of him fleeing the fire. Now, why would Tyler Henry have to flee a fire? And he's like, oh, we don't know what's going to happen. I'm praying for all the dogs and kittens and puppies out there.
But Susan, didn't Tyler Henry predict that the fire would happen, and one of the Hollywood celebrities said so?
Oh, Ricky Lake, that's a motivated sitter. Her house freaking burned down. And then 3 months prior to that, she was on Tyler Henry's show on Netflix. And he says, oh, there's something about a fire in your family, some water damage. And she's like, you're not seeing a fire coming up because I live in Malibu. And he goes, oh, no. This is a fire that happened in the past. And there's going to be all this water damage and stuff like that. This video is on my channel, by the way, you guys. Did Tyler Henry tell Ricky Lake her house would burn down? So Ricky Lake's house is burned down. And within like 2 days of her house burning down, she's writing on Instagram that Tyler Henry told her that her house would burn down. And go look at the clip. It's on Netflix. And it was recorded on October 24th, 2024. Tyler Henry told me my house would burn down. And the media picks up the story. And I go play the clip. I'm like, no, Tyler Henry is not saying that. He's saying there was a fire in the past and there was water damage. And somewhere in your family, you'll remember this story. And she is so motivated. Again, she's in stress, right? You have to give a little pity for her. Her house is burned down and LA is on flame. I mean, is totally flaming as she writes this post. And you would think she'd have something better to do, but no, she is stressed. And you have to remember that with stress, you're not thinking correctly. You're not thinking clearly. It's just.
Yeah.
So
and then, of course, the media just played it up.
Yeah. Well, and this is why I really like that you use this term grief vampires, because they really are preying on people that are in distress. So even though they're still out there, I think the work you're doing is really, really important to call attention to this kind of thing and continue to remind us of the instances of, when it all the time turns out not to be accurate. I know that is helping people. So thank you for that. And thank you for being here this evening. We've got to wrap up and go to the Hangout, but stick around with us, y'all. If you want to go to the Hangout, join us in Zoom. But first, thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. Don't forget to join us next week, same bat time, same bat channel. We're going to have Dave Farina of Professor Dave Explains. And as always, for more information about recovering from religion and to access our other resources, you can visit our website at recoveringfromreligion.org. And Rob, where else can people find us on the social medias?
Yes, I do want to mention the people who are coming up, by the way, because I think one of them is here right now watching the show. So coming up after Professor Dave, it's Brian Dunning, Eric Murphy, and Richard Saunders, who I saw in the chat.
Saunders is here. Saunders is in the house.
Yes. All right. So, yes, follow us on social media. That really helps. Our link tree is Recovering from Religion. Our Facebook page is also Recovering from Religion. Instagram, we are RfRorg. We had to make that different. TikTok is at Recovering from Religion. Blue Sky is recoveringfromreligion.org. And you can find most of the previous episodes of RfRx on our YouTube channel in the RfRx playlists. So we have learned that healing can come from helping other people. So you are welcome, if you have the time and inclination, to volunteer with us. To do that, go to our main page, which is recoveringfromreligion.org, and click the volunteer tab.
All right. And with that, we have our fabulous executive director, Gail Jordan, joining us for a few words in closing. Gail, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Outstanding. Thank you. Oh my goodness, what an incredible show. We look forward to when Susan joins us. These have become the highlight of some of our RfRxs. This was wonderful. When you have been a believer and you leave it, and one of the pieces of relief that you feel is that there is not a hell. That's an awesome thing to let go of. We have to grieve the loss of heaven and all that implication, and you have to, you lose the hell piece too. But when you hear about people like this who are taking advantage of people when they're in such a vulnerable place, and it's not just the money, it's not just the emotion, and they just seem to do it effortlessly. They don't lose sleep over it. I don't know. I don't know how they get in their heads. I don't know how they manage it, but it's important for us to know about it. It's important for us if we have people in our lives, and I'm not saying anything about elderly people. I just mean anybody in our lives who are vulnerable to this kind of thing. We have an obligation. It's on us to help the people that we care about, the people that are in our circle, know that there are people out here who do this. It's tragic. It's truly tragic. But these episodes like this have been so helpful in educating us that these people are everywhere. These little weaselly people are everywhere. I guess it's an insult to weasels. They're just everywhere, and we have to be careful about letting the people in our lives, especially when they're going through a vulnerable time, fall victim to this. So Susan, thank you for joining us again. We just look forward to these. My daughter and I, Glenda, we talk about it all week. Susan's coming. Susan's on RfRx on Monday night. So please come back again and visit with us. Everybody, thank you for coming, whether you joined us through YouTube or you joined us through Zoom, or however you have found us. We've been so grateful that you are here. We're going to have a little hangout. We've mentioned it in Zoom. There'll be instructions about that in just a minute. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Kara, I don't believe I know if you have mentioned what we're doing. We mentioned next Monday, and then that's Thanksgiving week, and we'll still have our RfRx.
Yes, indeed. We will still have RfRx next Monday, even though it is over the holiday. We have found that sometimes folks like to have something else to do over the holidays to recover from their other activities. So we will be here every
Wonderful.
Monday.
Great. That's great.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that. And to your point, absolutely. If you are watching this live and you want to continue the conversation with us tonight, you should join us in our post-show hangout that we have over in Zoom. And I will drop the link to that into the chat. Please feel free to pop over and join us at that link. It's tinyurl.com/weekly RfRx. And we're all going to move over there in just a moment, and we can continue the conversation and talk about more questions and comments and whatever else comes up. So with that, thank you once again for tuning into RfRx, your weekly reminder that questioning is healthy and critical thinking is the best medicine. So we'll see you next time. Bye.